hello everybody. We're starting while you're here.
I thought you were
Instead of
joking when
waiting.
you said we were going to do that.
Hello.
Hi.
I mean, it's
Good
a
to see
minute
you.
early. Discord just changed in front of our very eyes.
Ashley, this is unprofessional and I will not accept. No, yeah, we literally, I thought, because my Discord has crashed before. This, by the way, happened because, like, my Discord, we thought it crashed, but, like, and maybe it did, but, like, when it came back, which took a shorter amount of time than usual, it just blink, and it gave us this all new UI. Yeah, it's mostly the same, just like, with stuff like a little bit like, reshaped and, scrunched together, but it's the same general layout. I'm looking at it right now and I'm really liking it. It has built-in more darkness and light value settings and more density. I now have a slightly more compact Discord and I like that. I like a denser layout like that.
Okay, the mobile version is still the same. I don't think I would mind this on mobile though.
Yeah,
how it looks now. It obscures the server list more. I mean, I don't
agree at all.
Like, I need to look at how it was 5 minutes ago because now I've forgotten. Oh, I like how the folder looks.
What folder?
On my server list.
Oh, right, those server folders. Yeah. Oh, those are good.
Those look a lot nicer.
This feels like a Nova launcher change. This feels analogous. But yeah, this is great. I'm very into this. It's also smoother, more responsive. I would on occasion have a little lag spike because I have too many servers. And it's butter smooth. I don't feel like it's obscure. Like, it does feel like it's more separate from the rest of the Discord layout, which you may like or not. But I'm looking at it the same way that I would in my line of sight if it was the other layout, and this is beautiful. I think
I think this is fine. I want the real change of getting rid of the shop button on
that'd be great,
the DMs there. Also just to never see any of the limited time events. That'd be great, Discord. I don't care about any of those, but you shove them in my face all the time.
Yeah, I never know, like, for actual gamers, like, if that's useful or not, if that's, like, a thing that you care. Because if it was, like, a movie, I would think it's charming, but I also know I'm in the minority there, because I, for some reason, like, I like, I don't know what it is, but there's a tone to certain kinds of corporate advertising that I do find appealing, and it's really, really hard to describe. Because I know there's, like, a lot of soullessness to it, but that's a whole other topic, likely for another day, because we got shit to get to today.
All right, so yeah, first topic done. Discord changed. One thing I want to say while everybody's still in chat and listening, next week we're gonna do it early morning for the Nintendo Direct that's happening next week. It's 9 a.m. Eastern, so we'll probably go live around like 8:45.
Yeah, and which should be 2 in the morning on the West Coast, just so you guys know. And I'm completely fucking with you for anybody putting that in their calendar. Please don't. Oh god.
But yeah, I'm gonna be very excited to watch that. But for this time, we have a few different things. I know it's last in the list of the title, but you tried out Zen Browser, and I kind of got spoiled on how this ended, but I want you to talk about it.
Yeah, so now, full disclosure, I was expecting this to be a thing that I would delay and just never actually come around to, because because I like Vivaldi so much. And it's like the king of, or the queen, if you like, of browsers that just it does the things that I like and the things that most people don't like that I like. But okay, so I tried it basically immediately when we stopped, when we got off the phone. So I wanna get some elephants in the room out of the way, because for anybody who knows Vivaldi even slightly intimately, you'll know that there's a lot of little widgets in there that are not standard fare for a browser, and other browsers should not be held to the standard. Thank you, Lunar, for saying that Vivaldi's really nice and you've really been enjoying it. I don't work on it, but I love it too. But yeah, anyway, I've really been playing with the toys, and they've become a sustainable and helpful part of my life. The feeds, the email, the notes, the contact list, just how every panel and every little toy is set up. Calendar I don't use as much, but I want to. Now, to give Zen a fighting chance, because it would be asinine to hold it up to that standard, I reinstalled Thunderbird a little reluctantly, because Vivaldi helped me to proudly uninstall that. Not because it's a bad program, it just takes a while to start up and forever to first index your emails when you're first installing it. Because Thunderbird takes care of emails, calendar, and feeds, I believe. Not notes, but I was able to go to Google Keep for that, because web clients for emails, I don't know if this is a popular opinion or not, are fucking hot garbage most of the time. Gmail and Outlook are a piece of shit for the most part. I think they have merit, but you get it. Anyway, now, Zen browser, when I started from that baseline, almost got to a really sustainable place. And I want to end on the positive, so you're going to hear me go on a little rant for a second. I like that it has most of the best features of Arc from before it was abandoned. I like, of course, how sleek it looks. That does matter, the appearance of your technology. I like how seamless it is. I like how when you get used to it, there is like a pretty, intuitive flow. I like how, unlike Arc, it does have a built-in bookmark system, and the top bar is, at least for me, it was hidden by default, which I think is pretty good for you. Like, I thought that a lot of your settings you put in, Ashley, just for when you were first showing it to me, because you're so minimalist, but it's like, oh no, it's just a lot of this is just like this. And so I put the bookmarks in this only sometimes visible top bar, and I used that the way I would have used folders for pinned for pinned tabs in Arc. The thing that I'm so confused about.
Before you get to a negative, I want to put out that there are a few things that I immediately thought were going to make Zen not the browser for you. One, and in my opinion, in my thoughts, this would be the most important, is that there's no mobile equivalent.
I would have just typed the Vivaldi for that anyway. It's the best browser.
I know you liked
mobile.
Sending like mobile tabs to your desktop. I know you've talked about that before, so I was like, that might be a bit of an issue point. Actually, on mobile, because I'm not a big browser user on mobile, and I'm going to let you get back to everything in just a moment. I just use Arc Search still, because it's the only browser on mobile that just immediately starts letting you type as soon as you open it, no matter where it has been before, and it's just really speedy. I like it, but I'm also not the normal browser user for mobile that wants to keep things kind of organized and stuff. It's just like, no, I just want to pop up and start something and then close my phone. Another thing I thought was all of your little widgets and like aesthetic customizations weren't going to transfer over.
I knew I was going to have to compromise on that. I just picked a nice little gradient, and I'm like, you know what? I'll let this do it. I thought that was going to be like an issue point for you. No, it's just like really, really nice on Vivaldi. It gets it massive bonus points. It is not a requirement though. Yeah.
A requirement in a mobile browser for me is an ad blocker. Agreed. Actually, I really... Wait, which one is this? Like, because I downloaded Vivaldi, and this is like kind of hopping over to my Android thing real quick, but I will not delve into it. But talking about... oh my god, shut the fuck up, Vivaldi. Okay, I was just logging in on my phone to make sure. The Android Vivaldi, very different from the iPhone Vivaldi, and I like iPhones better. But either way, I don't use it. So
I feel like it's very close to desktop Vivaldi, all things considered.
It is, but I don't want a desktop experience on my phone.
Oh, I see. You want it completely different. That might have been why Arc Search satisfied you so much, because I'm like, I loved Arc so much at the time, and then but it's like, oh, like when I loved Arc and tried to use it on my phone, it's like, oh, this is a browser that feels a little basic and a little iPhone catered, but nothing resembling what I liked about Arc, and it was Arc only in name effectively on Android. It was fast and easy, it just wasn't what I liked from the desktop version, so I could see how it served you though, definitely.
Oh, but yes, continue. What are your pain points for Zen browser?
No, I actually want to give just a really quick note about Vivaldi Mobile on Android, at least. Beyond just sending tabs between, which is I would expect that hopefully of any cross-platform browser. You can also like the notes remain consistent as long as Vivaldi Sync is on, which is pretty reliable. The notes remain consistent if I just pull up a tab on it, pull out the panel to put in a note on desktop. I can pull it on my phone with barely a few taps. Translate as well. It has that in case you just didn't bother to put in a translate app on your phone or don't know, whatever. Anyway, reading list, you know, a few of the little toys, not everything. I don't think it has a built-in email client, which fair. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff you can pass between. Okay. Lunar, about Vivaldi Sync not working for you, this same thing happened. This is like the one tech thing where like I'm weirdly lucky about it, because with Sync on, it doesn't work for everything, but like this same thing happened with the Windows Phone app for me, where it's worked for both phones that I've ever tried to sync over Bluetooth. Having the photos sync to my computer and send over. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it does work fast enough and efficiently. And then apparently it just never works for anyone else. Vivaldi Sync works for me though. Anyway, and good to see you, Owl, as well. Anyway, so my problems, one of my minor problems
you
with...
missed one person. Hello, turned MNT.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought they were already here. Turn MNT. I'm so sorry. Best wishes to you. Thanks for coming. Anyway, sorry. I was just so excited. One thing that I'm not as upset about as I am really confused about it, because I don't consider it a required feature, but like this was one of Arc's best things that Zen did not carry over. You can have folders in standard tabs. You cannot have folders in pinned tabs. And one thing that I made a lot of use of back when I used Arc was that like basically like I had like a handful of folders like I do on my desktop, you know, that categorize things out, maybe even some subfolders. And I just pick out little stuff that I commonly use. I use that from the base tab. If I need to branch something out into a standard tab, then I do. But usually it branches out from those sites that I already use, and it almost works like an operating system at that point. And that might have saved the whole thing for me if they had that built in. I do not want to have to... I like how efficient mods are to install and uninstall on Zen. There was like a built-in UI thing for it on the website. Nothing fixed that, but the bookmarks did work pretty well. A few of the issues that I had as well is, so because I have tinnitus, it's not too severe, but it's like for a comfort thing and also to steer my head away from it, I guess, is I usually have one or two mynoise.net tabs going. We're not paid by them, just so anybody knows. I have some rain sounds, and I have, as of recently, some brown noise, both at the same time, just to help me concentrate, to soothe me, and to distract from my tinnitus. And with Vivaldi, at the start, yes, I have to remind it to, like, oh, load this one up, it's in the background, never have to worry about it again until I shut down the browser and restart it. And I'm sure that if I went into, like, making sure that it auto-loaded, if I cared to do that, then I could do that. With Zen, while I was using it, several times, I had to go back to that tab and reactivate it, and I didn't see anything in the settings to change that. I noticed that with the essentials, which are the little app buttons at the top of the tab bar, like a few times, my buttons would essentially unload the websites and their logos. So maybe it would have like the name of the website if I hovered over it, but if I clicked on it, it would take me to like a blank web page, and or just not work at all, and the logo would be vacant, so I'd have to reload that essential in. This happened for MyNoise and for Notion for notes. I'm sure that's not universal, but combined with a few other glitches, it was too much to push me over the edge.
Yeah, I've had that happen once, where an essential it loads a blank tab, and I don't know what causes it. I don't know why that happened, but what if you go to where you want to in that essentials tab, right click it and say where is it? The right click on tab is a little bit too much to look at sometimes. Replace pinned URL with current. That fixes it. It just the essentials thinks you want it to be a blank tab, and so when it reloads, it brings you to a blank tab. But if you just change that, that's what happens.
A little weird, but sure.
Also, if you right click on any tab, if you hit tabs unloader actions, you can prevent tab unload, so it won't disappear from you.
Fair, but the thing that finally did it in was when I had already gone into the settings like I do with any browser that I might switch to, so that I can make sure everything's exactly how I like it. Zen was okay in terms of settings. I know for a fact I set it to sustain my tabs between sessions when I closed and reopened it. And that worked until the last time I used it, when none of my non-essential tabs were loaded at all. They weren't in my history, they weren't anywhere. And I'm like, I could probably fix this, but I want to go home. I want to go back to Vivaldi, and that's where that ended. But for the positives, I want to say, if you want to piece these together, which by the way, remember, it's a young browser. It's like what, a year old, maybe 2.
Something like that. I think it's just a year.
Yeah. It's a very cohesive, fluid experience. It, like with anything that you could reasonably expect of a browser, if you're not asking too much, like with QR codes and shit, like on Vivaldi, that's another little nice feature. If you're keeping yourself grounded in that, like especially if you're used to something like Chrome or Firefox, like a standard fare browser, then it's a beautiful experience that will add more to it than you expect. It is very cohesive with adding, I will say it's more cohesive than Vivaldi when it comes to paneled tabs where things are aligned with each other. There's a specific like button to button function with it in Vivaldi, which is cohesive, but like it takes some getting used to. Vivaldi is inherently clunkier in the service of being more customizable with more features. I think ultimately, once they have a few more bug fixes, and once they have just a few tiny more features, it is completely comparable to a Vivaldi experience. It is a beautiful experience, and I think it's just for a different type of user. I think that if none of these glitches happened, I would have switched probably for a little while, just day to day between Vivaldi and Zen, because for a little bit, for like an hour or two, they did actually feel pretty close in how much I just had enjoyment of the experience when I'm like, let me adapt my flow in my browser to what Zen is providing. And maybe I'll even come back to it in the future, but I think it's just for a different kind of user that perfectly matches you, potentially, Ashley. But yeah, I just sat back home in Vivaldi after the fact and essentially made my bed. I'm like, okay, I did it, and I have notes, and I'm good. We'll talk about it on the thought bubble. Maybe I'll come back in a few months and we'll try this again. But because I really, really think it's worth people's time. It's such a pretty browser, and it doesn't sacrifice all that much functionality, and it'll probably build on it from there. But Vivaldi, it just worked. Everything I wanted to happen in Zen that didn't work out for the most part, or it was a little clunky, just worked with Vivaldi. And Owl says, I feel like I need to store all this information for if I get to a point where I need to optimize my browser experiences. If you do get used to Vivaldi, Owl, and this isn't something you already do, get used to right-click, hibernate tab. That is a standard part of my flow now with Vivaldi. I understand that that's too clunky for some people, but I don't like relying on just it, determining based on my RAM. I'm like, hey, I want to decide my own, which tabs I'm like, I know I'm not going to get back to that in a while, but my browser may not know that, so I'm just going to take those little pieces of change, put it back into whatever else I'm doing. So make that part of your flow, because if you let it, Vivaldi can get very resource intensive, but it's for you or it isn't. Lunar says, the most annoying thing I've noticed about Vivaldi is it doesn't keep my position in PDF files between restarts, and the DSM is so long and takes forever to get back to my spot. I'm not sure what you mean by DSM. I don't use PDFs too much with it, but because I've used a couple of PDFs and I don't remember if it did keep my spot. I don't know if that's a glitch or not. You have 50 or more tabs open right now in Vivaldi. I have at least, if you go between workspaces, I have probably over 20 to 30, and I would say under 10 are actually currently in use, probably under 7, maybe 5, just because I want things to just grab and go, and this is how it feels best for me. But yeah, that's
insane to me right now. So obviously, normally I don't have the notes and the stream tabs open, but those two are open. I have Blue Sky open, I have the music tab open, and for some reason I have Notion calendar open, but that usually is hibernated. So like I have very little open. Like I'll have a few YouTube tabs when I'm just like chilling out watching YouTube, but it's crazy to me to have more than like 5 tabs open.
Yeah, you're aggressively minimalist. There's nothing wrong with that.
I was just like, why is it there if I'm probably never gonna fucking come back to it? I'm not gonna remember it exists.
You know that you're not gonna come back to it. I got a different brain, Ashley. Like I bounce. Yeah. A diagnostic and static manual. Oh yeah, for like a microsecond, I forgot you're a developer, Lunar. Yeah, I can see how a dev or somebody in similar fields and practices might might make use of way more times than I do. You know,
like I only ever need a few tabs open. If there's a tab that I need open frequently, it's an essentials tab, and it just goes on and off as I need it. And if I don't need it, I use it and then close it. Whatever I'm doing with it, if I'm like reading an article, it's open and then I close it. I don't keep it open. I don't know how you get 50 individually useful tabs all at once.
So I won't tuck something away just in my now I'll bookmark something in whatever case, but I won't tuck it away all the way just into my bookmarks if it's something that I'm like, oh, within the next, let's say week or two, I have a very real chance of having use for it. And if like after a few days there seems to be no sign of that, then I will just close it or forget about it, because a hibernated tab doesn't take up any resources and it does not overwhelm me to see it. It's just like, hey, that's evidence of the stuff that I've done, and it's maybe a reminder of something I've forgotten about, because when am I gonna look into my bookmarks and remember a thing that I stuffed away somewhere? It's like,
I mean, I don't use bookmarks. I do have 2 tabs pinned, but they were both hibernated.
So how do you keep track of shit that like you're not immediately using if you don't have bookmarks?
If they are so useless to me that they go into the bookmarks, I do not need them. I'm not
to me, that sounds like
them.
To me, that sounds like somebody who has like full comfortable budget for like a closet of clothing, but you're like, I only need 1 shirt and 1 pants. I just wash the same ones every single day.
That's just a waste of water. I have 5 shirts.
Yeah, but you're not.
You do laundry over the weekend.
It's like, I don't put shit in bookmarks because it's useless to me. I put it in there because I don't need it right now, or maybe not for like another few months or something, because it's like some shit is very useful, but you don't need it for a while until you need it. And then maybe you forgot where you found it.
I used to be a bookmark hoarder. Like if I opened up like Chrome or something right now, I could tell you I probably have like 200 bookmarks. I absolutely never went to any of them ever, other than the first like 6 bookmarks, because I didn't have the essential buttons in like Chrome or something, so they became my essentials buttons, and that was the same as it is here. And so I never go to my bookmarks. If I bookmark it, it is lost to the ether, and I don't really need it.
I think part of my thing with bookmarks is that I like that it's a place where you can hoard things and they don't actually get in the way of anything. It's like you could just tuck them away, and if they do become useful again, you can search for them in there, or you can, pull them out at a whim, go through them, see if there's stuff you forgot you wanted to do. And when you don't, they don't exist anymore. They're just a button over there that would look the same if there was one bookmark in there. It's a magic little treasure chest of it's essentially a TARDIS you're taking with you, of just of just it it's the magic box where you could just put everything and not have to be responsible for it.
Or I could just not have the box.
Like, I don't know.
I'm never gonna open that box again. It's the same reason I left a bunch of my shit behind at my parents when I moved out, because I was never gonna use it again.
It's just like
it's the same feeling.
I wonder if your life never includes times when it's like, shit, I haven't used this one thing in a few months, maybe a few years, and I don't remember what it was or where I found it, but I know it could have come in handy here. Or like, and you're just like, well, like, I don't know what that turns into.
I'm gonna open up. Do I even have Chrome? I do have Chrome. I'm gonna open up Chrome and look at my bookmarks. Am I not even signed into Chrome? I'm not even signed into Chrome. Wait. Where would I have bookmarks? Probably Opera. Let me open up Opera.
Yeah, Owl says, I feel like some of my tabs probably belong in bookmarks, but that's like putting things in a closet I will never open. I see, like, that's a lot of stuff. I have a folder for stuff that's like, do you want to keep this but never probably look at it again? Then this is the shadow closet. I have a specific folder in my bookmarks for that. But for stuff that's like, oh, realistically, now I have a folder for that. A few actually.
That
and
last
also
sentence
says
you were
between my phone and my
completely
computer.
Gone.
Oh, okay. I was saying how I segregate folders in bookmarks based on like stuff that like I want to keep but I'll probably never use again, and then stuff that's like, oh no, there's an actual real chance that I could have to use this again, but there's no telling what time or how soon that might be. Owl also says, between my phone and computer, I 100% have more than 250 tabs open. You also left stuff here. Oh, yeah, that's for you, Ashley. This is truly maximalist versus minimalist discourse. I searched my web history for things
I
like
left
this.
stuff there because I didn't have room in my carry-on.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, this is a maximalist versus minimalist just diplomacy debate at this point. But I do like the idea of searching through a web history. It's just I think I bounce around in general web browsing orders of magnitude more than I have things in my browser. And so I maybe that would work better than I think it would, but I like having my little, specific, I had the purpose of wanting to look back at this, touch of it, of clicking bookmark. And it's not just everything I've ever seen in a list. That's too much to me.
I am trying to log into Chrome to get my bookmarks. And let's see. Oh my god, there's so many. That's stressful. Oh my god, it's opening every extension as it downloads every extension I've ever used. Holy shit, there's so much useless shit in here.
Sure.
Why do I bookmark? I bookmark a ton of like YouTube videos. I could just put them in a fucking playlist, which is what I do now.
Yeah,
I just
that's
like
better
them.
about, yeah.
But
it's a rare circumstance where I have a bookmark for a YouTube video. That's very specific cases. That's like, there's maybe 3 of those at most, and in the grand scheme of it, that's a very small number.
I want to say for my we're going on bookmark land. So
sure,
my first few bookmarks are very similar to how they would be now, minus a couple of these websites I don't use anymore. But Twitter. Why do I have 2 Twitters? So wait. Oh, TweetDeck and then regular Twitter. I leave YouTube videos open in a tab stack now. Insanity. But so
no, I do like doing
a social
that. Yeah.
media. YouTube, for some reason Tumblr. I don't think I've ever actually used Tumblr. YouTube Music and Twitch and like Gmail and stuff. For some reason, and this is why like the things I bookmark are not useful to me. Question is, with all the mobile let you have multiple windows open on Android? Yes.
I haven't personally. I haven't seen Windows, but the one thing I wasn't expecting from Vivaldi Mobile is because at first I thought this wasn't a feature. Turned out I was just looking in the wrong place. Tab stacks are also a thing on mobile. I was like, I didn't think you could get that on mobile. That's a famously desktop feature for it. But yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's stuff that I don't need bookmarked because I have it downloaded on my computer, like the Star Trek Adventures books. Why do I have them bookmarked when I have them downloaded and backed up multiple places? I don't know why I did that. I don't need to be able to go to Amazon on a whim. For some reason, I have Ozymandias, the poem, bookmarked. I have a folder for videos that I eventually, I guess, gave up on because there's just videos everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. There's a bunch of Wikipedia articles that I would just fucking know. It's like if I forget about it, I didn't need it, you know? That's my kind of... Oh, I have the General Knowledge Norms website. You remember that?
No.
So it was that test. I forget what year this was done, but it was like early 2000s, where they gave it to a bunch of college students, and it just asks regular, like, general knowledge questions. And I think I gave a lot of these to you. Chat, what is the name of the horse-like animal with black and white stripes? This is the one people got correct most out of this entire test.
That feels like a trick question. Like,
yeah, but there's no trick questions.
There's no trick question.
Zebra. Apparently 93% of people answered that correctly.
What did the 7% say?
It does not give us the wrong answers.
Oh, that's the best part. That tells us what we don't know. Oh.
It's like, what is the last name of the author who wrote Romeo and Juliet? 84% of people got this correct.
Wait. When you said that, immediately beat for beat, I saw the message from Owl that said giraffe.
Giraffe? Yeah, I think Giraffe did do that.
William Giraffe. He's my favorite author.
Here, I'm going to go way down the list. There were 300 questions. And some of these are just like things that if you never heard of it, you don't know it. But the lowest, or well, no, a lot of questions got 0 correct answers. And I can absolutely see why people didn't get this one right. What is the name of the largest desert on Earth?
Okay, the answer that I spring to is Sahara, but I'm not confident about it.
No, you would be wrong.
Okay.
The correct answer is Antarctica.
Yo.
Antarctica is a desert. It's just not
There's
the one you
sand
think
in all
of. Sand is not a necessity for desert.
Wait, okay, hold on. We gotta, for a second here, I want to bounce on this, because, wait, so then, like, let's say you have, I don't know, let's say like a field in the winter that would be like that's got grass under there, but it's just covered in fucking snow. Is that enough to be a desert, or does it have to be like forever layers and shit, or what?
So a desert, I believe, is just like very little precipitation with little to no vegetation.
Oh, so grass inherently disqualifies it. So, okay. That's really fascinating.
Desert is arid with little vegetation. Yeah.
I really like this. I like that. That's awesome.
Apparently I bookmarked some Facebook Marketplace things. I bookmarked a
Also,
tutorial for Affinity Photo. That's fun.
before we get too distant from a certain thing, by the way, I just want to give a quick little tiny tangent. One thing that makes me feel justified as a maximalist, but like that, I feel like calling myself just a full stop maximalist is a little off, but like I do have elements of that, plenty. One thing that makes me feel justified in is every time I watch a tested video with like Adam Savage's workshop in the background, you know, I just like, you know what, this can work. And it works for him, it can work for someone else in a different way. And like, it doesn't get in his way. He works great. I like it. Awesome. Anyway,
I don't
please
think
continue.
you can say you're not a maximalist and then invoke Adam Savage's workshop.
Okay, fair. You know, I'll surrender that.
I
Sure.
think you
I'll
messed up a
concede.
little there.
Fine. Well, because when I think maximalist, like I think of, okay, I think I have a stereotype in my mind. Because when I think maximalist, I think of someone who always wants something more and better, and always like, it's like, you know, the old like, you know, oh, do you like this thing? How about 1,000 of that thing? Because like that's not a universal concept to me. There are things that I like that for, but anyway. Yeah.
I wouldn't say a maximalist just wants a bunch of a thing, but like they want to maximize the things that they do have. And I think Adam Savage definitely maximizes his space.
I like when a small amount of things that I commonly go to can contain the rest of the plethora of things that I might need when I'm there. So it's like almost an illusion of minimalism at the door, but then you see the what's underneath the shell. Anyway, continue your bookmarks.
I've closed them now. I've closed out Chrome.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's like a ton of that stuff. Like I don't need that. If I wanted to look up the general knowledge norms, I would remember that. So
with my bookmarks, I'll just go through like a handful of them. The top one, this is a recent one, so I guess this is most recent down. Because I just haven't even thought about it. So it's deck.blue, and that's a fascinating one because yes, I do have a pinned tab for that, but I also know at some point I might accidentally close that tab. And so that's Blue Deck, for those who don't know, the Blue Sky situation is the TweetDeck equivalent. That one, it's like, it is not in my way, and if I need it, it's over here. Like, it takes up no more space to be there than to not be there if I have the button that's useful for anything else. And so it's like, this is because for me, the way I think of minimalism is like, oh, okay, great, but do you have contingency? Because I like having contingency. It's not only comfortable, but sometimes necessary. This is just a social media thing, but it could be from far more important things. I also have stuff for like when I'm in a better position to afford it. So like the next thing down is classes under Record You, which is someone told me about. They've got some good voice acting workshops. I have little toys like Synthsational. It's like a little music game in your browser. Some forum stuff for troubleshooting pieces of software and hardware in case I like have the same problem and want to go back to it. In the Discord server, Ashley just posted general knowledge norms, the little quiz. I have some window shopping from other stuff, little tech pieces or whatever, and it's like I could just grab and go. If there is a section of a website that I think is useful, but the website I don't think has the best UI to where I know that I'll find it again quickly enough, like for instance the GIMP developer downloads, GIMP being the image manipulation software, of course. If I want to go to the developer downloads for like early features, then I'll have that specific page in my bookmarks because I'm like, I don't remember necessarily how to navigate the website to get to it. And yeah, just like little fascinating articles that it's like, maybe I'll get to it, maybe I won't. MCU Bible verse is a fun one where it like turns quotes from that's from like a decade ago, where you can this guy cataloged, I think it's even updated to the modern day, quotes from MCU dialogue that like then gives like a like what movie or show it's from, and then a timestamp as if it's like John 3:16 or whatever other Bible verse. It's a fun little toy. Yeah, that's just like the general layout here. I have like the Monterey Bay Aquarium just because I want to be able to like look back at the streams, but I don't want the tab always there. I don't know why specifically that tab, but it felt right and it flows. Yeah, that's the general premise.
Yeah, I will say for like articles and things, because I use an RSS reader, like I bookmark more articles, but it's in my app. So it doesn't need to be in my browser. Granted, again, maybe this is a good pivot point to Android because I have lost my favorite RSS reader. And I still have not found a good replacement. Please, anyone, if you use an RSS reader on Android, please tell me about it. I need a good one. I don't like any of the ones I've seen.
I wonder if Thunderbird has it on Android. Maybe, I don't even know if they're available on Android.
But yeah, so this last week, I got a Google Pixel 9 Pro. Absolutely love it. The first thing I did was put a MagSafe circle on the back because I cannot live without MagSafe. And that was before I even got an iPhone. Actually, I had the S24 Ultra or whatever it is, S23 Ultra, and I got a mouse case that had the magnetic ring in it. And just having a magnetic pop socket so I could like put it on anything else if I wanted to put my phone onto like my dashboard, which has like a little magnetic mount for it. I just take the pop socket off. I have a little magnetic thing dangling from my car's rear view mirror. So I just stick it on that, stick the pop socket on that, stick my phone on the holder, and it just is amazing. Magnetic batteries. I really love MagSafe as a thing. So immediately I made the Google Pixel an iPhone.
Yeah, sure.
And
you should get to do that.
I downloaded Nova Launcher, as everybody ends up doing. I have not stuck with Nova Launcher.
You used the Wii homepage launcher now.
Yeah.
Going back to classic thought bubble.
Yeah, I mean, don't fix what ain't broke. No. So I found this launcher. I was just looking at a bunch of videos because I didn't know the last couple years of Android app releases. So I was just going through videos of like, oh, hey, here's some cool apps that came out in the last like year or whatever. Or it's not necessarily that they came out, it's just like people would cover Android apps over the last 2 years. I'm like, well, if there's anywhere I'm going to get like the last couple of years of new stuff, it's going to be in these videos. And I watched it, and they pointed out a launcher that I still don't know how to say it, but I think it's Cavasitso.
I think I might have heard of that, and I also don't know how to pronounce it.
I'm going to put it into the chat, and hope that me putting it into the chat lines up when I say it in the stream.
I mean, I saw it at that point. Cavasitso.
Yeah, Cavasitso. I love this launcher. I don't know if I'm ever going to change from this launcher. One of the big things about this launcher is on iPhone, I got really used to having a few essential apps on my home screen and swiping down to open up search for anything else I need. Because like, I don't need Reddit or whatever on my home screen. It's never going to have a spot on my home screen, but I use it semi-frequently. And so being able to swipe down, type RE, and it knows that I want Reddit, and then I hit enter and it opens Reddit. Really smooth, really good. Nova Launcher was just a little bit too jank in its option for that ability. It wasn't set up for it. It doesn't look great. It's a little slow sometimes. I don't know why, but I would pull down. It would open up my keyboard, but not put me in the search bar. So I'd then have to travel up to the top of my screen, click the search bar, and then start typing back down at the bottom of my screen, which was just like, oh no, but it's an issue. And so I heard of Cavasitso, however the fuck. It's intentionally built with that as the function of this. You cannot even have too many icons on the home screen. It is not an option of this launcher. The default option is no apps on the home screen, which I think is crazy. You want a few apps on the home screen, but
you want the like someone put in an insert image on an animated character's smartphone just so that you know so that you know it's a smartphone phone.
Yeah. No, I have currently a row of 5 apps at the bottom of my home screen, which if I could move them around a little bit more, I might have one more. I would like an RSS feed app on my home screen. Not necessary. And having 6 in the layout that it wants me to have 6 in is too much. It makes the icons too small for me. But so 5, I have from left to right, bottom left to bottom right, Arc Search, Spotify, Discord, Blue Sky, and YouTube on my home screen. And like I said, anything that I need otherwise, I swipe down and start typing. And it's never been an issue. It's never had a glitch to where like Nova Launcher just didn't put me in the search field. The other cool thing about this launcher is it really wants you to interact with widgets, which I really like widgets. They do not go on the beginning of the home screen though. It is like I have the main widget, which is the time, whatever you're playing, and some important notification details can go there. Otherwise, you scroll, and below your home screen is all of your widgets that you can scroll through. And so I have the weather widget, I have my calendar widget, which is I still have not found a perfect calendar widget, but the one that comes default with Kavitsitso is fine. I have the music player widget, a widget that is like a countdown to an event, and my Google Home integrations widget. And I have been loving this setup. The only thing I don't like, so this was also an issue on iPhone. Fine is high praise for a calendar after last week. Yeah. The thing that makes it fine.
Didn't notice that.
So
nice catch.
I can go to any random day that I want, and see what event there is, which is not a function of a lot of calendar widgets, which is crazy. Calendar widget that doesn't let you look at all of your calendars, whatever. And it gives me the events that are happening that day. And if there's a ton, it expands. If there's less, it contracts. So it's as big as your day is, which I think is really nice. I still wish it was more like Fantastical. But that's also like hoping that God exists. It's not gonna happen. We have
Zen was never gonna be like Vivaldi. Yeah.
But yet so far, I'm enjoying the experience. I enjoy some of the new things Google's done since I left iPhone. The kind of, I think they call it predictive back button or contextual back, whatever it is, where on certain apps, if you start hitting the back button, it kind of shows you a preview of what you're going to before you fully commit. At least in the gestures it does. So I'll like swipe in from the right and it'll start moving my screen a little bit to show me where I'm about to go to.
That's beautiful.
So I like that. I will always say the iPhone back gesture is not that great. I like it's almost consistent, which is the same I can put for Androids at this point. It's almost consistent.
That sounds like technically right. In terms of a UI feature. Yeah.
Like swiping in from the left on iPhone like works like 90% of the time, gets you where you want to go. And 10% of the time it does nothing, which is
nothing
about where or it does nothing or gets you where you didn't want to go. which is about where Android is now.
I
But
have
it is being
never.
helped by this, like, well, sometimes I'll hit back and it'll just like close the app, which isn't what I really wanted. It just
Oh,
depends
I
on
see.
the app.
You didn't mean literally nothing. You because like on Android with the back swipe, it'll never ever do nothing. Maybe it's done that for like an operating system level thing, but like while it was updating or some shit. But yeah, for me it's like on occasion it's like, oh yeah, I entered the app onto this screen, so if I hit back, then it's gonna go to the home screen.
But, I
So
meant
it's like it's rare.
nothing
Yeah.
might happen on iPhone sometimes because the
Yeah.
app, for some reason, forgoes Apple's design of swipe from the left and
Weird.
has its own button or whatever. And sometimes the app does what I think is the best, and Apple should be doing this, where a swipe left from like just far enough left of the screen works as well, instead of having to really come in from the side, which Apple apps really want you to come directly from the side.
What about like apps where swiping like to the side but not all the way to the edge? You want that to be a different. Let's say, I don't know, someone's using Tinder or some shit. Like, where it's like, oh, I want to swipe left but not to go back just because I don't I don't want to hook up with this person.
I don't know about Tinder, but in apps like that, you really have to come in directly from the side. The app makers kind of choose how
Okay.
sensitive it is. And I just kind of wish more things were more sensitive to it.
Hmm.
What else have I been enjoying about the Android so far? I will say it's a little faster with its animations, and I mean, I can make them faster as well. I think I have gone into the like developer tools and made it a little tiny bit faster. Swiping in a specific direction is why I couldn't figure out how to use Tinder. I think that was God saving you, to be honest.
Yeah. I have never.
No one deserves to go to Tinder.
Yeah, the short amount of time that I used Tinder, I think I only had a mutual right swipe on people whose hair was bigger than mine, or and like not great, or threesome couples, and I'm like, I don't need this. This is fine for someone else. Yeah.
The other thing I like about the Kevasitso launcher, you can set like different gestures on the home screen. So because sometimes it's a little hard to bring down my notification shade, I have swipe left, or well, see, I don't know the fucking directions people say, but I start on the left and then swipe towards the right. I don't know if that counts as swiping
that
right.
That should be called a swipe right. You are swiping in the direction of right. That is, yeah, I'm sorry, that is a
but
swipe right. But
most of the time, when I swipe that direction, my app goes to the left.
Like, I get what you mean.
Like, I'm going left with it.
That's not where the swipe is going, though. That's like, it's the wrong word. Like, if they said navigate,
because, like, I'm going left.
If they say navigate to the left, I understand that, and that's a simple word. Swipe to, but if you're swiping it, like, I'm not gonna say, like that feels like if I'm running away from something and I say I'm running to something, it's like, no, it's away. I'm running, yes, and it has to do with that thing, but it's away. Like,
I swipe from the right.
I'm sorry, that doesn't work.
I got so confused. Look. It's UI UX that she showed me a little animation of someone doing it. Yeah, I agree. Just show me an animation. But
yeah,
no, because for me, like, I don't know, because like I said, it's like most of the time, like, I'm swiping and going left. And so, like, I'm swiping left.
I'm sorry, I think this is a place where we, like, I don't think there's that much to say about this beyond what we've already said, and I don't think we're gonna be eye to eye. If I'm swiping, it's in the direction that my finger is fucking going, and that is a hill I'm ready to die on. I think it is an improper label, and you could find a better one.
Well, either way, when I swipe left, it brings down my notifications, which is really nice.
You can go fuck yourself.
However you want to envision my swipe is up to you, whatever.
Wait, can you customize which direction the swipe is? Actually, I think that's an appropriate question.
Yeah, wait, let me see what it says.
That would make it more confusing. Like if you said it to something, but it was by default what I was talking about.
It is by default what you say, but I don't care. If I want to bring something down, should I not swipe down?
I was wondering about that. Thank you, Owl. Yeah, I swipe down from the top if I want to bring down some shit.
Yeah, but like when I swipe left, I want to go left. And so like, you know, if I swipe down, it brings down a thing.
I feel we're getting into like two like unstoppable force, unmovable object like conversations here when it comes to maximalism versus minimalism and swiping direction. You are not swiping left if you are going to the left and moving the interface. You are navigating to the left.
It's so not glad that hard a word. My name, or my brain did not read. My brain did not read that launcher's name correctly. Oh. I was like, oh.
Might have to ban Lunar from chat. No, also I want to say that I have not tried the Niagara launcher, but I tried searching for the Kawaii launcher, and I guess it's not compatible with my phone. Maybe it's like only for like more updated ones, because mine's like a small handful of years old.
It.
What?
Where are you looking?
Play Store.
It is not on the Play Store.
Did you say that? You might have said that, and I wasn't listening.
I don't remember if I said that. I don't think I did. It's not on the Play Store. It is on the F-Droid store, which is a separate store you can download. There are
What are the merits of that one?
It's the one that anything that isn't on Google Play is on. Everyone talks about it. I don't know. But
can you get the F-Droid store on the Play Store?
I have no idea actually, because I just downloaded it from their website.
Also, I want to refer to something I mentioned earlier for feeds on Android. I don't know if it is I don't know if it is a feature in it, but they do not advertise that Thunderbird Mobile has a feeds feature. I only know that that's a thing on the desktop client. So you might have to look somewhere else for that. But yeah, I've never heard of F-Droid at all. Period. And I'm searching for it. I don't find it in Google Play. I guess I'll search in my browser. I might.
I'll get a link and put it in.
Yeah. Going in the Discord server.
Put it in the thingamabob.
Yeah, I'm glad how much of a try you're giving, by the way, to Android stuff, and how much like you're not just trying to Applefy it. You're trying to explore it. To
be fair, I absolutely did Applefy it by you choosing this launcher.
Well, yeah. A certain amount. Like, I expect that because you're very comfortable with Apple. That's the same thing I did with Vivaldi. Also, I tried to adapt a bunch of shit and folders.
I love how everybody, like, the moment I get an iPhone, I have apparently never owned an Android. Like, I've owned Androids
because you got really comfortable. You got so committed to Apple.
I love iPhone. I still think it's great. It has a few issues that it could do better. But I also think like in the time between my last use of an Android and now, Android's kind of become Appleified in the same ways that some of Apple's become Androidified.
I can see that to an extent, but I want to say that what was the thing I was going to say before? Just continue. I don't remember. I had a thing. I'll probably remember.
Let's see. What else?
I'm visiting
it has a little
now,
bit.
Now
when I try to use my mom's Apple phone, I'm like, huh? Yeah, no. I have such an issue currently because I'm switching between them. So I have the iPhone that still has all of my work my work stuff in it. Am I bleeding? No, I'm fine. Don't mind me. But I have all my work stuff on my Apple, so like I bring both of my phones to work right now. And so a few things I like and dislike about each one. I like having a smaller phone again. I don't know why I chose the Pro Max for the iPhone, and the next time my upgrade for an iPhone comes around, I am choosing the regular Pro model.
Get your mom an iPad.
My mom does have an iPad based on my recommendation. She absolutely, and she loves it.
I'm sure she would. That's not even an insult. It's probably made for yeah.
The story of that, she had this like really nice, it's not a Surface laptop, but it's adjacent to that. It's that kind of model of laptop. And I don't remember what happened, but the screen broke. And so she was just plugging it in to an external display for a while until the hinge broke so bad that I guess it fucked with something internally and it just stopped working.
Whoa.
And so she's just like, I don't have the money to get a whole new laptop, because that laptop was a more expensive one. It was like $600-700. And I was like, well, right now you could get the 10th gen iPad for like $300, and it probably does everything you need it to do. And she's like, oh, I'll look into it. And then the next time I talk to her, she's like, yeah, it's replaced my laptop.
Yeah. Old people tend to be like very binary about their tech decisions. Either it's like, I don't know if it'll be able to handle it. I do a lot of stuff on my computer, and you find out it's just web browsing, emails, maybe watching a video every so often or a streaming service. And the other end is like, I don't want it to do anything. I just want, I don't even want to have the option of these things. And like the person who's gonna be like, it's hard to convince them to get anything more updated than a fucking Nokia. Yeah. I want to say though, with F-Droid, I'm surprised nobody brought this up, because I've sung the praises of this before. I just looked it up, and it says, is an installable catalog of FOSS software applications for the Android platform. FOSS is one of my favorite fucking principles in the world. I go for anything FOSS I can get my hand on. I love this. I was bringing up how I wanted to, but I didn't have enough to say about it. Talk about GIMP, the GIMP update before we fucking started this episode. And yeah, I'm excited to explore F-Droid. I might cover that next week. Yeah.
I don't go too into it. I literally downloaded it only for the Kavitsa launcher, and then a couple other downloads, because the weather widget doesn't automatically source from whatever weather app, so you have to like get an integration. It's a little weird.
I see.
But there's documentation on it. And if you need help, I know how to do it now. But
yeah,
I
also wanted to say
I've not really. I didn't even know it looked like this.
In terms of trying the Kvaisitso launcher as well, because I want to try the things that you recommend, especially if they're so versatile. But I want to make sure firsthand, and I'm gonna check this off air, to see if I can export if I can export my layout of Nova Launcher. So probably when I go back to it, because I'm so comfortable with it, I can just re-import my existing shit and not have to set it up again the way that I have it, which would probably be easy for you because you don't have much there, but for me it's a little bit more elaborate. Also, I was thinking earlier, because you mentioned the 5 apps at the bottom and that you didn't want much above it, I'm like, there's an evolution of actually somewhere on the timeline where you're like, I have turned off the top 90% of my phone screen, because all I really need is to do the stuff that's on the very bottom. That's all I use my phone for anymore. And so you essentially just break down a modern day pager.
Okay, that's too much. I like my pretty wallpaper. I like my aesthetics.
But yeah, I see enough of the wallpaper at the very bottom. All I needed is in the taskbar.
I don't, because I have a wallpaper that when it's fully charged, it's this bright sunny day, and when it's like really low battery, it turns into like evening, night, sunset. So you can see visually if you need to charge just by a glance at what color the screen is.
All I need to see is a little icon at the bottom for the navigation bar. I'm most of the time not on my home screen, Stevie.
If I could get rid of the little gesture navigation bar, I would.
What? actually fucking insane, but I do see the logic. It's consistent logic. I will give that to you. But good God.
I mean, I know I can use it.
This is
if only there were a battery indicator at the top of the screen. Yeah, it is, but it's also small, and if I'm looking at my phone from a distance, because it's been on my desk all day or whatever, I can't read that tiny fucking number from a distance.
Yeah,
but if I see that my home screen is yellow, it's like, oh, it's time to charge.
I think that's a pretty legit idea. Also, in terms of a criticism, very specifically of OnePlus, I think this is that my always on display does have the battery percentage on it because I chose for that. I don't think I can resize it though, and it's like the size of it's. Let me unlock my phone just to verify that I'm not about to be full of shit entirely. It's somewhere between like 150 to just like 200% the size of the normal battery percentage indicator when I have it unlocked. It's really tiny there when there's all this black space, and I know it's like the point of an always on display is to like use as little of the battery as possible, but I'm like, the time is several times larger than that on the screen, and it's thin text. It probably doesn't take up much. I'd like for the battery percentage to take up more of the screen as well, because none of the rest of it is. But yeah, God, I'm excited about exploring the. By the way, if anybody isn't familiar, I'm sure everybody in the audience for now knows, but FOSS software is free open source. So if you're like an artist, something like GIMP or Krita, you know, or if there's any number of libraries you can find for it, and it's one of my favorite things in the world because it makes tech and resources digitally more accessible to varying degrees of success and practicality and usability, of course. And some of them have a higher learning curve but are very useful, or less learning curve but they can barely do anything. It's a gamble, but I always like the gamble, and I love the principle itself of just making it free and open source and making it accessible like that. Anyway, yeah, Ashley.
Well, another thing. So you said, oh, on your lock screen or always on display, it shows your battery percentage. It doesn't on Google, which is ridiculous. And I just tried to look if there was an option. I don't think there is. Also disgusting. On my lock screen, so on the Pixel, I don't know which all Pixel phones have it. On mine, the Pixel 9 Pro, there is face recognition for unlocking your phone, but it's not like Apple's where they have like an actual depth sensor to scan your face to make sure it's you, right, and not just a picture of you.
Yeah, I don't like that shit.
Google does just use a picture of you. Also, half the time has no fucking clue that it's me. So I think it's ridiculous. Also, when it's trying to scan a face, it doesn't show my battery percentage on the lock screen, but when it's done trying, it'll show it. And it's like, how is that battery percentage even getting in the way? Why is that even a thing that happens?
Something I realized recently, ridiculous. By the way, regarding face unlock is, and I keep forgetting to turn it off because I have an Android phone, obviously, and like, well, like you just mentioned, it basically just goes off of essentially a picture of your face. Also, I live with someone who is immunocompromised, and so I wear a mask when I go, like literally anywhere off the property. I wear a mask, and like. And so it's like, this will be only useful on the property I live on. And so I should probably just turn it off anyway, because it's not going to make things more efficient. I need to just rely on my fucking fingerprint. Yeah. Here we go. Face.
Facial recognition isn't secure. You can have your face forcibly scanned by police to unlock your phone. Yeah, I don't really care. Like, the convenience of having my fingerprint unlock my phone, and I mean my face with Apple, not necessarily with Android. It's not very reliable on Android, but anything that's going to incriminate me is out there. It's not going to help me to keep it locked up in my phone.
I will say, in terms of face unlock, what? Well, Okay, I do have better luck with it. I will say, because if I just like have my lock screen and it was like facing my face, it would take at most a second for it to go, oh no, your face is there, cool. But what I do like is that when I went in to disable it just now in the settings, this is probably a common thing. I sure fucking hope it is. It's just a thing I wanted to give a little kudos to developers for. There was a separate button there was a toggle to disable it, which I could just do easily. To access that whole menu, I'd had to, give my unlock pattern. There was a toggle to disable it, and then on top of that, a little trash can button to delete the face data, which I have a feeling not every phone does. And so OnePlus, I appreciate that. I don't know if it's specific. People can tell me, but yeah, so I just want to rely on fingerprint and pattern for this. Yeah. Even if I had an iPhone, I think I would do that, frankly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way that their Face ID works is a lot better, more reliable. I almost never have an issue with Face ID on iPhone. And there's not a fingerprint sensor on iPhone, which is crazy. But if it had a fingerprint sensor, I probably wouldn't care as much about Face ID.
I will say one thing that helps Face Unlock to actually like work better, but it gets in the way of a fluid UI, is so I had a setting enabled when Face ID was enabled. Sorry, Face Unlock, because Face ID is an Apple thing. I had a setting that like upped your screen brightness temporarily with like an outline of a face to tell you, hey, we're compensating screen brightness to shine on your face so that we can see your face better in case you're in a dark environment, which I think is useful. It doesn't take up that much battery because it's only there for as long as you're trying to unlock it with your face. It works pretty quickly. But if I was wearing a mask and so didn't want to use that feature, I'd have to actively hit the little small text blue cancel button below the face icon and like navigate to that carefully in order to get past it. Because like the fingerprint sensor was less reliable on that screen for me, and so I don't know for what reason. So I don't think it implemented very fluidly with the UI for someone who doesn't always want to use it. But I think there's a version of that could be in place. Wait, iPhones don't have what sensor? I forget what
sensor.
Wait, iPhones don't have a fingerprint sensor?
Not the newer ones, I don't believe.
That's a crock of shit. I don't like that at all. That might, if I was in the market for an iPhone, that might single-handedly prevent me from getting an iPhone.
Not really a thing anymore. I think they got rid of it when they got rid of the like physical home button.
Yeah, I will say that like depending on what I'm doing, if there's more blood flow in my thumb, finger, or whatever, then my fingerprint will work less often, but it never doesn't work, and I want to rely on that more than a pattern. So I completely need something like a fingerprint. I do not want the only biometric thing to be a Face ID. I don't want to have to use that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather, like, I would want the Apple logo on the back of the phone to be a fingerprint sensor. But that's also me being like, my favorite phone ever is the Google Pixel 3, and it had a fingerprint sensor on the back that had a lot of utility to it. And I miss it dearly. I'm so mad that Google got rid of that.
I mean, while we're talking about distant dreams,
also,
I would love to
let me talk about fingerprint. I don't like the in-screen fingerprint sensors that a lot of phones have.
That's mine.
I don't like them because it's depending on the technology. Some of them are optical, which is terrible, and some of it's like the other kind. I forget exactly how it works, but like it's just not always as easy and quick as when it was a physical thing, and especially as quick as the Pixel 3, where it's the back of the phone where your finger goes to hold the phone. So you hold the phone and you're already in. You're in it. You don't have to think about it touching on the screen or whatever. And it's like, I don't like an always on display, but because I don't know where the sensor is in the screen for my thumbprint without an indicator. I have to have always on so that I can touch it while it's fully locked up, instead of having to like, oh, activate the screen and then blah 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 blah. And it's like no.
Yeah, the only reason that I'm not a fan of like put your fingerprint on the back where the logo is because where I would put my fingerprint there for this phone, that's where the flashlight is, and if it's just a little north, my fingerprint's right on the lens of the camera.
Well, that's why they should put it on a phone that's designed for it.
Right, exactly. I'm just saying my hand is trained for this. But for me, this is just a non-issue, but I can see why you have a problem with it. I think that's perfectly reasonable. But I also want to say, alluding to what I was talking about earlier, I would love just more mappable hotkeys on any technology that could vaguely use it. If I could just have a fucking like make my phone like a saxophone underneath the power button and just have a bunch of hotkeys that do shit. I know not everybody wants that, but I'm gonna reiterate, like I've said on previous episodes, I would love a hotkey machine. Just it looks like a fucking cheetah. I would want that.
So I've posted a picture of the Google Pixel 3 in the Discord.
It does look pretty.
Sexiest phone on the market. I don't understand.
And it's also not the logo, by the way.
Bar.
The logo's at the bottom.
No, I'm saying where iPhone has it. If they were to put one, fair. You don't listen to me.
I skipped the little
you
parts.
You never look at me during. Anyway.
Sorry, please go.
Also, it would be kind of cool to have the logo there anyway, but the Apple logo is like made for it because it's already round, but on the back of the phone there, it's really good because it's naturally where your finger kind of wants to go when you hold this phone. So you're already kind of unlocking the phone as you're not even necessarily looking at it. It's like it's unlocked while it's still in your pocket getting taken out. And once you have it unlocked, it by default has the option to where if you swipe down on that fingerprint sensor, it brings down the notification shade, which I loved. And then you could get another app or whatever to customize other directions, or if you want the down to not be your notification shade because you're a monster or something, you could do that too. And I don't know why we got rid of this, and we have these stupid ugly let me get a picture of the Pixel 9 Pro. I think this is one of the ugliest looking phones. I'm gonna get it in the color that I have it because I have the pink one.
Is it the one with like a jutting out? Yeah.
It's so dumb. I think they've made it look worse than it used to be with like the Pixel 8.
It looks like
the Pixel 8 had like a full visor, which at least it's like it's fully integrated into the design, even though I still think it doesn't look great.
I think both of these look like you added an attachment onto your phone of it. Like it looks like it makes it look like the Pixel was designed without having a camera on the back, and some accessories makers were like, we can't not have a camera on our phone, so it had like a little attachment for it, like a pop socket. I am wondering though with these phones, how durable are they? Because I know you're an anti-case girly.
I don't know how durable they are. I don't drop them. So.
Okay, but you at least want to know how durable they are before you buy it though, because like if you don't want a case, sure, but like you're checking for at least just in case something happens, right?
I did not look at how durable any of my phones are before I buy them.
This is the most 20-something conversation. Nothing bad will ever happen. Good God.
I remember I had at one point dropped my Pixel 3 when I had it, and at that point my floor was just concrete, so that wasn't great for it. It came out with very minor scratches. Not to say that means anything for the Pixel 9s of the world. Very different phones. But like, I don't know, that was a pretty harsh fall that I gave it when I dropped the Pixel 3, and it was fine. Phones feel so small and feeble without their cases. No, they feel sexy and sleek.
No, I'm sorry, Ashley, you're gonna be the outlier here. They feel like they are. I'm going dick out. Like if I don't have a fucking phone case that feels tech analogous to weighing out balls hanging, I'm sorry. This is where you're gonna be the outlier. I will be the Vivaldi outlier. Well, no, I'm
sorry that
with a
none of
crowded
you can
Vivaldi.
trust yourselves. Anyway,
Well, you know what? I'm gonna cut all the seatbelts out of your car. How about that? Then you could go without a fucking case on your phone.
well, I need to click it or I'll get a ticket.
So you wear a seatbelt only around cops, allegedly, on recording.
Yeah. Allegedly. But no, I always wear it.
Okay, hold on. Just outside of a joke, I do feel like you're the kind of person who does always wear a seatbelt, regardless of cops
I do
around or not.
always wear a seatbelt. Like, that is too dangerous.
But that does make you a hypocrite.
It does not.
It
means that I
does,
value
I'm
my
sorry.
life more than a crack in my phone.
You don't trust your car.
I don't trust the other cars.
Do you like? What kind of like?
If
what
it was
someone
just me on the road, absolutely, I would not feel the need for a seatbelt.
This is ridiculous.
Or if it was it was me and like 10 other people on the road exclusively, like, we have exclusive access to this road, I would not necessarily feel the need 100% of the time.
When I exaggerated about minimalizing your phone down to a pager, you saying you don't want a case on your phone feels like another in like exaggerated, oh no, that's too far thing in terms of your minimalism habit. It's like I
do not own a case for either my iPhone or my Google Pixel.
This is ridiculous.
I have a case for the Google Pixel 6 that I own only because when I bought it, the person who sold it to me had it in a case. Also, when I tried to take it out of the case, that's a slippery ass phone, and it was just hard to hold because it was so large while it also being slippery. So like that one, it needed it for gripability. But the new Pixel phone isn't curved on the side. It literally looks like an iPhone if it was like held back in remedial. But
life happens only when we control it. I completely agree with you, Ashley.
Look, I want to say, all of y'all were just like, oh, your phone's gonna break. I've had an iPhone without a case now for what? When did I get the? It was been to like 2 years, a year and a half, something like that.
Yeah, I like.
And it has.
Yeah,
it has the first iPhone I had for the entire year. Absolutely nothing happened to it. It never fell. It never
doesn't happen until
bumped.
it happens.
And now I have an iPhone and a Google, and nothing's gonna happen to either of them.
Oh no, Ashley doesn't live on the edge. Ashley lives in Zen. I want to clarify.
Yeah, I don't use Edge.
Yeah, Edge is still pretty good. It's just I don't think either of us want to use it.
I never dropped any of my Nintendo DSs past the first one when I got it at like age 6 or whatever. They never fell out of my hands. They never got destroyed.
I will say,
every handheld device I've ever had has ever had a crack in it. Even when I dropped the Pixel 3, it got a scrape and that was it.
I will defend the DSi from needing a case because I don't remember where I was, but I remember accidentally dropping a 2-story building and it was totally fine. Those things were goddamn indestructible. But yeah, no, in a world where phones regularly spiderweb, not always out of any fault whatsoever of the person, and it happens less with a case. Yeah, I'm just case.
It's never happened to me, so.
Oh yeah, and so it couldn't. It's just not possible.
Could never. I'm sorry. I'm good at holding my phone.
And nothing ever happens outside of you. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, what could possibly have?
Please finish that sentence.
What could possibly go wrong?
And now we've encapsulated the whole thing. I have nothing to go up from there. You have said the thing. We're good. I don't need this topic anymore.
Oh gosh, God. There was a difference I wanted to make a point of between. Oh, so on iPhone, when you bring down the control center, one of the controls is volume that you can change on the screen, which is really good. If you're on the iPhone, the volume buttons are on the left side of the phone. And so if you're holding it with your right hand, you can't like really grip around to control the volume. Why is that not on Android? Why can I not, next to my Bluetooth, or not my Bluetooth, but like, I mean, I guess it would be, but next to my brightness setting, have a volume slider? Why is that?
That is kind of weird.
Right there.
But
it is that way in iPhone with command or control center, not command center. It's just right next to brightness.
I think that is a little weird, but I think the reason it feels more normal to me is because that has easily accessible physical buttons while brightness does not. I think that it's
they're not always easily accessible. If you have only one hand,
but we don't need redundancy, as we previously established. We don't need any redundancy for things. We're good.
When did we establish redundancy?
We don't need any redundancy. We have the button right here. You can access them. You're a big grown-up text user. You don't need the slider.
But not when I'm sitting in bed jacking off and my other hand is busy.
Well, then maybe you could just hold your phone differently. It's not that hard.
It's not when the buttons are on the right and I use my right hand.
I like, in all seriousness, I agree with you that more customizable UI with like all sorts of redundancies should be a thing. I just don't have an answer as to why it's not there. I wish it was. Android's
also,
not perfect.
On iPhone now, the volume buttons are two separate buttons. It's not a rocker, and I kind of miss that on the Android that has a rocker. I wish Google.
Mine has two. Wait, does mine actually? Sorry, my case has two separate buttons. I'm gonna take it off for a second just so I can see if it has a rocker.
Be careful.
Oh no, that is a rocker.
You're gonna drop it.
Well, you see, I'm sitting down.
A wild
and
bird is gonna fly through your window and slam directly into your phone beak first and planting itself into the screen.
You know what? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it off right now. I'm gonna talk at this episode, and I'm gonna unzip my, stick my phone right in there, and nothing's ever gonna happen.
The way that you cut out during that sentence is amazing. I'm gonna unzip, stick it right in there.
You know. Well, that's basically what I said. Unzip my fly and stick my phone right in there. And it's just, because I'm controlling it. I control my pants. I'm good. Nothing's ever gonna happen to me. I'm good. I'm solid. We're good.
But yeah, so I just don't let my phone get hurt, and it's fine. So...
This is peak 26.
If you take your case off for a month, I'll put a case on mine.
I'm really giving some thought to it, Ash. No, because I remember before I had a case on this, it actually did slip out of my pocket, and so I'm considering it. We'll talk about it.
The case exchange. It'd be funny because that phone case is probably not going to fit mine.
Oh no, I couldn't give mine to you.
Yeah.
I'd need to have because I assume the fail state of a challenge is like, no, I need to put the case back on now, like, so I have the case on hand. Like, I'm not throwing it out. Yeah.
If you take your case off and you get even a minor scratch on your phone, I'll put a case on. This is not a real challenge. I'm not doing it because I'm not going to do that. But
I have altered the deal, but I don't alter it any further.
Exactly. But yeah,
Yeah.
what else do I have that I like and don't like? Because there's been a few differences that I'm like not as happy about. I'm unhappy that literally every other video about Android apps is, oh, here's an entire list of apps that you need to root your phone for, and it's like, I'm not fucking doing that.
Fuck
Who
you.
the fuck is doing all of this shit for a
Oh.
fucking app?
No.
Like,
Unless
I'm
it
not
is
gonna,
direly
like,
important
fuck
for
my
something.
warranty or some shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, fuck it.
I do like that. I'm not sure if the iPhone has this, but the Google Pixel 9 Pro has dual eSIM, so that's cool. I was looking at like getting my phone number from the iPhone and putting it onto the Pixel here, which I might still end up doing. I don't know. I have like weird, weird agreements with like the, why can't I think of the fucking word? The pay over time for my phones, so they have to be linked to a service. Pay later. That's not it's not exactly the word I wanted, but yeah, so it has to, like, both of them have to stay on their service. So I have my Google through Google Fi, and I have my iPhone through Boost Mobile, which my Boost Mobile is an unlimited plan. And I kind of want to put my unlimited plan onto the Pixel because my Google Fi is not an unlimited plan. And it's actually going to end up being cheaper per month to open up a new line on Boost than to get infinite data on Google Fi. So I'm looking into it. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I miss my focus modes. I haven't really looked at modes on Android yet, so I'm gonna have to look into that before I say that focus modes are better than Android modes, whatever.
That's just something I never use. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just like looking through settings at what I might.
And also, you would think I would find it more appropriate to have focus modes on my phone because, for one, I have different workspaces, and like I have a different workspace for my browser, you know, for when we're doing any kind of like stream stuff or if I'm doing anything regarding creative work, than if I'm just like recreationally using my browser. And it's also like I have more going on with it, you know, maximalism kind of shit. And yeah, no, so I just like I swipe through stuff, and if like because I'm not a person who, I don't feel like I'm a person who like is a phone user. It's just like I have my phone for certain stuff, but I'm not like attached to it in that way where it's like I'm checking it by default. And so it's like if I need to not be thinking about my phone, I can pretty easily not be thinking about my phone outside of circumstances where it's like, you know, extreme conditions, you know, where I need to check in on who's far away or I need to have an imminent update. It's like I use it for music mostly when I'm outside and occasionally texting somebody. If I'm somewhere I don't know, maybe directions, but it's not like I'm pulling out. If I'm pulling out Instagram, it's in my own home. Like, that's for the most part. I'm not watching YouTube out on the go, that's for sure as well.
One thing I want that I don't think Apple's Photos does this either, but I want folders within my locked area of my photos. I still want to organize that, but Google Photos just doesn't fucking do that.
Bullshit.
Which is just really frustrating. And the only way to have certain photos not appear, like if I wanted to send a photo to somebody on Discord and it pops up all of my photos for me to choose from, the only way for it to not show ones that I don't want, because like I don't just want to shove everything into the locked folder just because I don't want it to just be easily visible to anybody. So I don't have them in the locked folder right now. I have to back them up to the cloud and then delete them from my phone, and then Discord doesn't see them anymore. And that's really frustrating.
One consistent frustration that I have with digital tech in general is, first, like, I understand the concept of, like, you want to simplify and make very intentional choices with the UI you're designing. I understand that. You don't want things to bloat too much, generally, unless your browser is known for that, you know. But if you have a feature in one place and you have an essentially identical feature in or an identical function in another part of your software where you're missing that feature, it's like, I just don't get it at that point. Like, I brought up with Zen how it's like, and especially because, like, Arc did this, one of the things is you can have folders for tabs that aren't pinned, but you couldn't have folders for pinned tabs. And so you should be able to have nested folders, let alone just folders, inside of private stuff on Google Photos. I don't get that. I don't get why they would make it different when it's like a nothing thing that could be everything to, like, some of your users.
Yeah, because, like, let me, like, open up the locked area of my photos right quick. If I say move, it just says move out of locked folder, so I can't, like, make an album within my locked shit. And it's like, I just don't want, if I open up the Photos app, certain pictures to be visible. That's all I want, but I still want them to be organized. I want to treat them like normal shit. There's some weird limitations.
It feels weird that you want to use folders like that as a like, I'm not this is not me, like, jabbing at you, like, with the fucking like with the case thing, but I'm curious as to where you draw the line for minimal when it comes to stuff like folders and private stuff, because you seem like the kind of person who just want to, like, keep shit where it's, like, laid out, and if you don't need it, or, like, if you get to the point of, like, segregating and organizing different pieces of data, then you'd be like, well, I'm just going to throw out the stuff that's not in the folder I'm immediately using. Or am I misinterpreting?
Well, no, like, I go back and look at photos a lot more than I go back and look at websites.
Fair.
So, like, I go back and look at shit all the time in my photos. And I want to have them categorized so I could find the specific photo I'm looking for easier. And I can hear it now. Some people be like, oh, just use the search function and it'll just describe what the photo looks like and it'll find it. It's like, fuck no.
Ew. Yeah, I don't want it to just work like that. I also want to say, partially, I just can't relate because I don't look back at my photos very much. That's a very occasional thing for me. But if that was something I 100,000,000% I'd want folders and nested folders for that as a potential thing. I think that's incredibly necessary.
Yeah, another difference between iPhone and Android is with swipe speed. So if I'm scroll speed, I'll say scroll speed, but it is directly linked with swipe speed on Android. And Android, you swipe really hard and it just flies, but it is still, like, slowing down. It still has momentum to it. And on iPhone, you kind of have to swipe a few times for it to, like, build up speed.
What?
And I would like a combination of these two things.
Okay.
So, like, on iPhone, I wish I had my iPhone right next to me. It's on the charger on my bed, so it's not right next to me. But, like, it'll still go relatively fast if you swipe really hard. It just won't go for very far. But if you keep doing those hard swipes, it'll get faster until it's speeding down much faster than you could actually be swiping at. And Android, it goes at exactly the speed you're swiping it, no matter what, which is, like, it's good. But if I'm really far down a list and it's a really long scroll to get to the top again, or get to wherever halfway through, and I'm still really far away, if I'm doing it really quickly, it should just go faster.
Yeah. You want an accelerator.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that makes me curious on on your computer, are you a fan of mouse acceleration, or that to be one?
No, mouse acceleration's completely different. I had an old mouse that the scrolling thing is very reminiscent to, where I had a button on it that would change it from being the like individual clicks of the mouse scroll wheel to being a free wheel. And so if I'm at the very bottom of a page and wanted to go to the very top or halfway through or whatever, I would unclick it to freewheel and just slap the shit out of it. And it'll just go.
It would just go.
It would just go, and it's amazing.
Was it weighted a little bit?
I don't know. It was good. That's all I know. But
okay, because that feels good.
That is essentially how I would like scrolling to work on my phone as well. To be just like, oh, let this one be fucking crazy and go all the way up without me having to think about it. Because like that, the freewheel of that mouse will just go. So there's almost no website where you're not getting to the very top almost immediately if you hit it hard enough.
Because I've seen mice where, well, firstly, the toggle sounds gorgeous, and I've never seen that before. But with smooth scrolling, like scroll wheels on a mouse, I've only ever seen it to where it's like the same function, like your fingers on it doing the thing, or it isn't. But it's just the smooth version of that, without the clicks. Excuse me. I think it's like only once ever, and it was on a gaming mouse, that I've seen like a little bit of momentum. But I don't think I took the time to test out how far that momentum goes. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful feature, and I want to see that on more mice. Yeah.
What was the next thing I was gonna say?
It was something to do with Android.
Oh no, it was actually something to do with the mouse. One of the really cool things about, and the only cool thing about a Mac mouse is it's touch sensitive. And that it's just a little, it's nice to have that kind of granularity. I would like to see what we could do with the mouse that is like a normal, like actual mouse and not the Mac mouse for many reasons. Mm-hmm. That on the right and left click is a capacitive touch pad, and see what kind of options that can like do. So it's like if you just wanted like really like fine control of scrolling, you could just like move your mouse or move your fingers just a little bit across the buttons, or like even just using it to like flick down really quickly. So maybe you don't want to have the like freewheel mouse built in, or freewheel scroll wheel built into the mouse. For whatever reasons, if you have those capacitive bars there, it could essentially do the same function. I would just love to see what that does.
I have a feeling that if I had something like that, I don't know if this is a universal experience, but I feel like, because I'm not conscious of this if it does happen, that when I'm moving my mouse around, my fingers probably like subtly move around on the buttons, like just in little pieces, in ways that it would, at least software would have to like accommodate for, just to make sure like that it's not an accidental swipe, but there's like a very deliberate motion for something like that. Yeah. I thought what you meant by capacitive touch is like, oh, if you're just touching it, it does something, and I'm like, where are your fingers when you're not clicking? Like, where do you put them if it's not right on there all the time?
Yeah, no, not just touching. I would also say like most mice that would be of this kind of caliber anyway have extra buttons. So maybe you would have a button to toggle on the capacitive. So it's like, oh, you want to use them right now, toggle it, use it, toggle it back off, whatever.
Yeah, I also, there's a feature that I think I might have talked to you about in private before, maybe even on the show, that I would want to see in mice, in physical mice, but I think that the reason I thought of it would not be a practical usage for it. I just think it'd be a kind of cool gimmick at that point. But I would like if there was some kind of toggleable or application dependent, potentially, pressure sensitivity on the buttons, or some kind of like toggle to where like you can have the buttons smoothly go down like a trigger on a game controller. And the reason I thought of that is because one of the many reasons people usually choose not to draw with a mouse on their computer and get like a drawing tablet or something to that effect is because there's no pressure sensitivity. It's either you're clicking or you're not clicking. And one way that you could take care of that problem, like in a pinch, let's say if your hardware wasn't working, you just wanted to make an adjustment on something to where you do not want it on completely or off completely. Yeah, it's just like a little potential pressure sensitive clicking, or some kind of pressure sensor where like the click still works but you can click harder, like, you know, and that could have a similar function to where like tap and hold, like the 3D touch that Apple had for a period of time, I believe, to where you can have 3D touch on your PC for whatever functions you'd want that for. Maybe you could map that to a fourth click, maybe even a fifth if you have an individual 3D touch-esque function for the left and the right click, to where maybe it waits just a little fraction of a second to do a normal left or right click and waits until you know whether you're gonna do one or the other. Now it could be you could accidentally toggle it because it's really just a matter of pressure at that point in a place where you're already putting down enough pressure to click it. Maybe that just wouldn't work, but I think it'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for mice getting funky. Funky mice.
Hotkeys. Give me lots of them.
Anyway, I think it is now 2:15. It might be time to wrap up the show, especially since I said I was going to be helping out at work in 15 minutes, and that isn't happening now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I want to say it's really funny that we're ending it now, because like maybe a half hour ago that like we just went through an update to update the Discord UI at the start of the show, and now it's sandwiched with it has another update button. I guess someone needed to fix somewhere. And so yeah,
I swear, yeah. Discord updates so fucking much.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming, folks, for coming to our little hyperfixation rant. This has been beautiful. ImprovYard.co.uk. This is actually not gay. Oh, I didn't know I was doing the outro that time.